Hey, it's Marilyn Devonish here from transformationstm.com. And I've got just one word, but I'm going to say it several times. Wow, 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 wow. So for those of you who've been on my page today, you may have seen it, but I'll bring it up so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I've just started to put together the first batch of Soul Plan reports for the people who are going to be joining me for the Global Soul Plan webinar, video webinar, in a couple of weeks' time. And with one of the soul plans, and it was quite an unusual one in terms of the way it was laid out, I decided, I blurred some of it out and I put a little extract on my Facebook page and just wrote about what you're actually seeing on the screen. You know, what does the 9-9 mean? What does the 4-4 mean? What are some of the limiting beliefs? What are some of the challenges? What are some of the characteristics? And then I messaged the person whose soul plan it is. And I said, if you take a look at my page now, I said, I haven't named you, so nobody will know it's you. But if you go and have a look, you can see a little sneak peek of your soul plan. So I'm going to read you what I wrote this morning in terms of that post, just so you get a sense of what all those squiggles and things mean. So I said, wow, this is fascinating already. And I've only just started preparing the first batch of soul plan reports for the global video webinar. The 9-9 energy, and you can see the 9-9 3 times along the top, depending on how big your screen is. So I've said the 9-9 energy is about expressing and claiming your full power, or if it's in a challenge position, having a resistance to do so. And that's if the challenge hasn't been resolved, because you can have it in a, let's say, worldly talents or worldly goals or even your soul destiny. But if you haven't resolved the challenges around that, then there'll be a resistance to claiming your power, using your intuition, etc. I've then said, because they've got the 9-9 3 times in their chart and the 4-4 twice. That's why it's quite an unusual chart. I said the 4-4 is when the spiritual challenge position is to do with learning about the flow of abundance and feelings of abandonment. When it hasn't yet been mastered, there can be big, in capital letters, ups and downs with the flow of money and income. I've then said match that with the 9-9 if they are resistant to claiming their power, using their intuition, or out of balance, and it makes for a very interesting combination indeed, particularly if you are self-employed or you run your own business. Because if you've got the up and down thing, the feast and famine as they call it going on, that's major if you're self-employed. And gosh, in this particular current climate, that just compounds that as well. So I've then said, right, limiting beliefs for the 9-9 include, I have no power, I can't trust myself, I hate myself, and people are out to get me. And there's half a dozen or so 9-10 limiting beliefs that we talk about during a one-to-one reading session. These are just pulling out a few. The limiting beliefs for the 4-4 energy include, I am unworthy, I am blocked, I am rejected, I cannot reproduce. And the reproduction thing in a financial sense represents difficulty replicating and reproducing and generating money. So I've then said, game on. The 2018 50 Soul Plans webinar event was brilliant because I did 50 Soul Plans for £50 to celebrate my 50th birthday back in 2018. And I said, so I look forward to next leveling on that. Feedback from someone who was at the one 2 years ago said, thank you so much, Marilyn. That was fantastic. It was really accurate and just what I needed. And so they were hearing me reading out aspects of their soul plan on the video webinar. They had the written report, and the written report is interesting, but where the rubber hits the road is where you actually then do the reading and what do all of those positions mean and what are the challenges, etc. So I then said thank you to everyone who has booked. Thank you really to everyone who has booked. I was going to send the first batch of soul plans out next week. However, might have time to do a few this week as well. So keep a lookout on your email inbox. So if you have signed up, keep an eye on your email inbox, and there's a link if you want to join us. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This is like the wow bit. So after I messaged the person whose soul plan that is, I've added an addendum to that post, and it says, so below is the conversation thread from the person this soul plan belongs to. So they've said, that's so funny, as I was just on the post wondering if it was me when your message pinged through. So I wrote it, posted it, she was reading it before I'd had a chance to go and say, hey, this is your soul plan. And she was like, oh, I think that's me. She says, sounds about right with money and power. These are all pertinent right now. I never feel in control with money and would like to work for myself, but that brings up so much fear and resistance to even really getting started. Then I asked if I could share the feedback, like, you know, on the page and with you guys. She says, absolutely. It's the perfect time for me to get the plan in terms of getting the soul plan report. And that's what people say. You know, when I've just read you the quote from the person who attended, their thing was, it was just what I needed. It just comes at the right time, always. So she said, absolutely, it's the perfect time for me to get the plan, exclamation mark. And then, you know, she's saying, yes, that's fine. And she says that what I've just a snippet I've shared there on Facebook, it's spot on. And that is one of the things I hear most often about the soul plan readings. Oh my God, spot on, so accurate. That's me. And it's just crazy. And that's why one of the clients that I did a reading for when I first started doing the soul plans back in 2013, number one, he laughed and says, don't show this to my wife because she'll just know everything about me. But he laughed and he said, it's like seeing my life laid out on 5 sheets of paper. It is that powerful. So, oh, actually, ignore those prices on the screen. Actually, well, as soon as I finished, it's just been crazy today, and I've just finished my ballet class, and before that I was on a Zoom call, before that I was on a 2-hour call, before that it's just like rolling. So if you're watching this like after we've finished the live, or literally as soon as I finish the live, I'm going to go and update the prices. So ignore the prices that are there because I'm going to be putting those up when I finish this. But just to kind of, now, if you wanted to join us, the easiest way, because it's a really long link, if you go to the post that I shared, you will see it's just this great big long link, too much to read. You're not going to take it all in. Easiest thing to do is to go to my main website, transformationstm.com, and I'll put that up on the screen in a minute. And if you go to the top of the website, so you can see a representation of that on the screen. Now there's a red button that says what's new. Click on that. A panel will then come out to the right hand side like you can see on the screen. And what I did this morning is I added a link where you can sign up and join us. So when you take part, you'll receive a written copy of your soul plan report. You get that as a PDF document. And then when we do the video webinar, I'm going to be going, so what I did last time is I put a big spreadsheet together. So, you know, for example, the one you've seen on the screen, I'm going to talk about the 9-9, I'm going to talk about the 4-4, I'm going to talk about whatever was it, I won't say the rest of the soul plan out, but all the aspects that have shown up, I then work my way through those so everyone gets to hear about their particular soul plan. But the difference is we're doing it on a big video webinar, which is why I can do it at a reduced price, because I'm doing it as a group rather than, you know, when I did the 50 soul plans for £50, I didn't do all of those readings individually. Everybody then came together on the webinar. And of course, the beauty of that is if you can't make the webinar, there'll be a recording. So that's the easiest way to sign up. Go to my website. Let me show you the website address. So website is www.transformationstm.com. And if you happen to be listening rather than watching, trance is TRANCE, formations, F for Freddy, so FORMATIONS, TM as in trademark.com. So transformationstm.com. If you've got any burning questions over and above what's actually on the page where you're booking, because I put a link back to my website if you want to go and read more about the soul plans. I've also on the booking page added a link to the posthumous soul plan that I did for Whitney Houston a few years after she died, and that will give you a deeper understanding of, you know, what the soul plan can throw up, and it's fascinating reading. Definitely go and have a read of that. So that's all on the Involve Me page where you're booking. But if you have got any other queries, it's Marilyn, MARILYN at transformationstm.com. So that's the easiest way to get hold of me. And if you happen to be watching this entire, what is a soul plan? This was from someone who took part in the webinar a couple of years ago. Thank you for an amazing call. It's unbelievable how accurate it is about me. So that is always what people say. I had somebody that I did a soul plan for a couple of years ago, very similar age to me. And her words to me were, thank you so much for explaining my whole life. And that is quite profound when you've lived for 50 odd years, that what's contained within these 5 sheets of paper can give you that level of depth and insight. So it's absolutely fascinating stuff. I love the soul plans. So yeah, if you want to come and join us, that will be absolutely amazing. This was from someone who basically was saying, you know, it is jaw-dropping when you read it. It's almost like your life is laid out before you, and you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I remember when I first saw mine, I was just like, whoa, it's like the story of my life. And the thing that is so cool about the soul plans, it continues to unfold years, and I'm pretty sure decades after you've had that report done. Because I've had clients go back to their soul plan a year later. Some of you know Kathy Hector. We were talking about it. She posted something on Facebook a few months ago saying, I actually went back to my soul plan about 3 years after we'd done it. It was like, wow, I went back to my soul plan 5 years after I had it done. And something that was mildly interesting, whatever, I looked, I was like, whoa, that is so up for me right now. How can that be? And it's like, of course that makes sense, because the soul plan is about your entire life. The worldly bit, the downward triangle, is the from age 0 to approximately 30/35. The rest of it, the spiritual and the soul destiny piece, then spans from 30 to 35 years onwards. And so I guess I will look at my soul plan in 20 years time, and things that I'm nowhere close to now because of where I am, let's say, in how I live my life, my level of evolution, my growth, what I know, all the rest of it. It's not relevant now, but when I look at that in 10 years time, 20 years time, it will be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So it's really, really cool stuff. So if you can join us, that will be absolutely fantastic. The way it's going to work, once I'll give it a week or two to give people a chance to sign up, send out the soul plans. You guys will have a read, and then come together on the webinar where I will go through all of the soul plans that have come. There are 22 different combinations, and the chances of everyone, you know, having to go through all 22, very slim, but never say never. But last time there was a cluster, you know, like a cluster, like for example, the soul plan I put up earlier, she's got 9 3 times. So it means I just have to cover that off in terms of the positions where it sits in the soul plan, and I'm done. So, and then other people who are listening who also have, let's say, 9 as a worldly challenge, we all hear the information together. So that's the way it's going to work. So the date is going to be decided by the people who have signed up. Some people are just like, whatever, or they're in completely different time zones, so they actually don't mind not being on it live. And I will say, if you can't make it live, if you kind of go, it's fine, or I'm in a different time zone, although as you guys will know, for those of you who joined me for, let's say, the Raising Your Money Vibration 10-part series last year, the lovely Pippa Neve, who is a wonderful therapist out in Australia, she was getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning because she actually wanted to join us live because it was just such fun. Not everybody's going to do what Pippa did. If you don't want to be on it live, then of course there'll be a recording. And what I'm going to be encouraging you all to do, of course, I'll be emailing you beforehand. I will be asking you to send me your questions so that I will incorporate those into the webinar as well. So whether you're there live or whether you're, you know, kind of just going to be joining us, if there's something, let's say, that you read on your soul plan and you're like, can you explain that? So there's one on the, for example, the 8-8. There's a whole thing about, you know, kind of fitting in, not feeling like, the way I describe it is almost like you don't feel like you're of this earth. And sometimes people don't get the wording of how it is on the soul plan. So if you've got anything like that and you're not going to be on live, then, you know, let me know beforehand and I'll make sure I incorporate that. But yeah, I'm really excited about this one. So if you're watching this also on Facebook, if you have any questions, if you have any queries, put those into the comments and I'll cycle back after the record. Well, I mean, if you're here live, you can put something in now, of course, but you know, put those into the comments and I'll cycle back and answer those. And if you're watching it on YouTube, then, you know, you can put your comments on YouTube. I'll of course add my email address as well if you didn't want to comment publicly. But yeah, really look forward to it. And if you just want to generally find out more about the soul plans, go to my main website. It's coming along now, the ticker tape now. So it's transformationstm.com /soul plan, SOUL, soul plan. But yeah, it's cool stuff. Love it, love it, love it. And what I've said to the person whose soul plan this is, because having confirmed what I was just speculating on, just having had a very quick look this morning as I was preparing it, what I am going to do is some of the Huna energy clearing as well. Once we've talked about what, because no point talking about challenges and then going, oh, well, good luck, have a nice life. So we will do some of the Huna energy. Actually, I wonder if I've got it here. Having mentioned Pippa, let me just see if I have it. I think I've got a few bits about Huna. That's while I look for Pippas, you can have a look at that one. But I mean, that's actually, that would be a good example, to be honest with you, because that was a group of people, about 550 people in that room. And I did probably 2-3 minutes of Huna, if that. And for the next 4 days, I couldn't walk 2 steps without people coming to tell me how profound it was and what happened and what's shifted and what's cleared and what's changed and yada, yada, yada. You can see some of that on the screen. So somebody is saying, I attended the 4-day TCCHE, the Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution. So I attended the 4-day TCCHE event a couple of weeks ago because the changes were continuing to ripple on. And although I found the speakers fascinating, your Huna work had the most profound effect on me. Someone else was saying, I did speak to you at the event, brackets in the ladies, because it didn't matter where I was, somebody wanted to tell me about their Huna experience, even if it was over the top of the toilet cubicle. And she says, and I explained how I felt the energy around me and the sense of calm. But since that time, I'm quite amazed at what has happened, because just after doing that couple of minutes, weeks later, people are still feeling it. And you guys who are, you know, in my membership in group, etc., you'll know that this stuff ripples on for years, you know, because when we're talking, people go, oh my gosh, and then they have these realizations and they didn't even notice how profound the change was. And so this event here, that's Greg Braden, Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Bruce Lipton there on the stage. If you've been to the TCCHE, it is a powerhouse event. I love it. So I'm just going to see, oh, actually, this is another one. I'm still looking for Pippa though. While I'm looking for Pippa to see if she's in here. Pippa, wherefore art thou? That's one of my Huna recipients when we do the photo reading. The reason I use it on photo reading, got nothing to do with photo reading, but it's everything to do with changing old beliefs and clearing blockages. So this was someone on the photo reading workshop where I do a 1-hour bonus Huna and Access Consciousness belief change session. So I do a couple of minutes with each person, and they said, talk about grabbing the bull by the horns. When you did the Huna healing on me, oh my God, I couldn't believe how accurate your diagnosis was. You didn't tell me you're a doctor as well as everything else, because apparently I picked up on some stuff that was going on with her physically that I couldn't possibly have known. And so that always blows people's minds in a good way. And here we go. So this is what I was actually looking for. So this is from Pip, because people often say, if I can't make it live and you're, you know, doing heat clearing, etc., will it still work? Absolutely yes. And this is from the wonderful Pippa Neve. When a few years ago I was testing something out with my e-newsletter list, and Pippa couldn't make it live because of the time difference. And this was in the days where it's actually a teleseminar. So I was talking into my telephone. And she listened to it a couple of days later and had the most profound experience. And I didn't notice until last year, about 3 years afterwards, how profound it was, because when I reread it to the group, when I was doing the Raising Your Money vibration program, I suddenly realized that what Pippa was describing was the order and sequence in which I'd done the symbols. But all she would have heard on the call is, you have no idea what symbol that was, even if you are a Huna master. And she described it pretty much word for word, but all she would have been doing is hearing those weird sounds. And in those days, because this was probably about 5 or 6 years ago now, in those days I hadn't even shown people the symbols. I didn't talk anything about the symbols. I just explained that they are drawn and delivered on the breath. But yet she was able to describe them, where she talks about the red triangle. So, you know, initially she says my third eye, my throat and heart center and solar plexus all felt compressed, because that's where I use the symbol. The literal translation is along the lines of thunder comes down and strikes the earth and makes the earth shake. And people sometimes feel that as a compression, as a pushback. And she said, I was uncomfortable to say the least. After the first round of Huna, I sensed the image of a red triangle of fire. After I did that, because the thing I did then is I wanted to break the energy up, and then I used the fire energy to burn away the stuff. And the symbol that I'd use, which again, all I would have done, she would have heard me go, That's all she would have heard, because I've just drawn it there. And I did the triangle of fire. And then she says, cut during the and after the second round, I felt the pain being drawn out of my body via my heart center. What she wouldn't have known is I drew a symbol to open up the heart. And then actually something that we do on the soul plan piece, and if you've done the soul plan core issue therapy, it's called sword fingers. So after using the symbol to open up the heart space, what I was doing is kind of drawing the energy out. She would have had no idea about any of this. And then she said, I slowly began to feel lighter. My heart center opened more than previously. And I felt like I was glowing from the inside out. And then what I did, there's an image where you put almost like the light of the sun inside of people. So where she's described that, I did that symbol. And if you actually see the symbol, the light is radiating. I don't think I've got a copy of it here on the stack. The light, no, I haven't. The light is radiating from the inside out. So, you know, it's profound stuff. And this was all just with Pippa listening to an MP3 recording, an audio recording, having not been there live. And I've had people who've downloaded my Huna MP3s, and I just get these random emails going, oh, thank you so much for the Huna. I had this profound experience. And I'm like, what Huna? What seminar? And then I realized I listened to a recording that I did 7 or 8 years ago. So it is crazy cool. And those of you who have subscribed to the new Huna channel will have had this experience yourself, because I'm putting new stuff in there throughout the year. Plus you've got all of the archive material. I'll put a link into that as well if you're interested. But yeah, so it's going to be cool. What can I say? I look forward to working with you all. Look out for your soul plan reports. They'll be winging their way to you over the next couple of days for the first batch, and then towards the end of next week, probably next Thursday or Friday, I'll send out the next batch. So for those of you who haven't booked yet but will be booking, then you know you'll get yours towards the end of the week. And then after that, giving people a week or two just to kind of sign up and think about it, etc. I'll send you out a link where you can click on a calendar in terms of the dates that you can do, and then fingers crossed, there'll be one date that stands out that everyone can do, and then I'll put the date in the diary for the live video webinar. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for booking, and you know, I'm just so looking forward to running this one again. Yeah, I just thought I'd do a COVID-19 special, because I thought this, well, I know the soul plans are such a brilliant way to give you a sense of clarity, focus, that sense of drive, motivation, that whole sense even of explaining things. Like, oh my goodness, now that makes sense. And it's perfect for the times that we're in, where there is so much chaos and turmoil around us. The soul plans are, for me, I kind of see them in this context as being really grounding and giving a sense of direction. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and the clearing is going to be pivotal to it as well, for sure. So thank you so much for watching. If you know someone who could benefit from this and you think, wow, I think so and so would love this, please feel free to send them this link, or send them over to my website where they can have a look at the soul plan information for themselves. And of course, if you're watching this outside of real time, last time I ran it, I didn't make the recording available, because you know, if you haven't got your soul plan, there's no point. But you can always book a one-to-one soul plan. Yeah, that's good timing. Sorry, a message just popped up. Somebody saying, can you book a one? Yes, you can. So you can book a one-to-one soul plan reading. I do those by telephone, by Skype, or using my online meeting room. So I do those online, have been for many years. So yeah, it doesn't matter where in the world you are. That's how I deliver them anyway. I do them online. So you can book a one-to-one soul plan reading, where you get a copy of your soul plan, but rather than on a webinar, we're going through your soul plan and I'm explaining the 7 aspects that are on that plan. So cool. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.